Oh, hello guys, welcome back to UK Firearms and Air Guns, and today I've got another video that has nothing to do with firearms and air guns. Sorry about that, it's a video about car tools basically. So, let's give you a bit of a backstory. A couple of weeks ago, I was at home off work and my wife was at work, and she gave me a call and she goes, "Michael, my car won't start, I need your help." So I'm like, right, yeah, okay, no problem. So I've had to go and grab all my tools out of the cupboard where I keep them and stuff. And it was a bit of a balls ache really, having to ferry them all to the car and then get up there and sort a car out. It just turned out that the battery terminal had come loose and it needed putting back on properly, and it was sorted. So it kind of got me thinking, and I decided that I wanted to keep some tool sets in the car, so I didn't have to grab all my tools and stuff, because obviously at the time I didn't know what was wrong with the car, so I just literally grabbed everything and took them with me just to make sure I had what I needed. And I decided that I want to keep some tool sets in the car. Now, my go-to set of tools that I tend to buy are the Halford Advanced tool sets. I like the Halford Advanced tools. They're good quality tools. They're not the cheapest tools in the world, but they're not like snap-on price, and they've got a lifetime guarantee. So this is my main socket set I use, which is the Halford Advanced 150p socket set. And I had an old set which was a 90p socket set that I've had for the last 12, 13 years. And that set is in the back of my car now, with some other bits and bobs like pliers and stuff like that, in case I have any dramas with my car. So I was thinking, oh, I need to kind of really get a set for my wife's car, because her car is a lot older than my car. So I've been looking for socket sets, but I didn't want to go down the route of buying another Halford Advanced socket set, because even though they don't cost an arm and a leg, they're still not cheap just to have a socket set as a backup in a car. I don't really want to go out and pay £200 for a 150p set or £130 for a 100p set just to keep in the car when I've already got these sets basically. So as of late, I've been looking at the Lidl stuff, and I've never really used the parkside tools before. However, over the last couple of weeks, I've been buying some and I've been using them, and actually I found them to be all right. They seem to be quite decent quality for the price that they cost. So I downloaded the Lidl app and I saw last week what they were getting in this week. And they said they were getting this little socket set in, which was the Parkside 61-piece socket set. And it was £17.99. However, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing the video, because they've got these in stores at the moment. If you download the app, you get coupons, and the app is free. The coupons are obviously free, and you will get this set as of now, today, which is the 28th of the 4th, 2024, for £15. And this is ideal for my wife's car, I think. There'll be a couple of little extra things and stuff I'll have to put in there, like some pliers and stuff like that. But the actual socket set itself is ideal because it's small as well. And she's only got a little mini, so there's not a lot of boot space in the first place. So you don't really want a big set like this in the boot, because it's going to take actually quite a lot of room inside the boot. So a little set like this would be ideal. So let's just get it out the box before we take a closer look at it. It comes in a cardboard box, as you can see there, like a cardboard box sleeve, and then the actual socket set itself comes in a plastic carry case like that, and it's nice and compact, so you get a nice little plastic case with it as well, which you stick in the back of the car and just keep in the boot. So what we'll do now is we'll have a closer look at it and let's see what we think. So as you can see, guys, the socket set itself comes in this nice plastic case. Now this plastic case does have a stand in it, which makes it handy for if you're working on your car. So it's got like a little thing at the back that you pull out, and you can stand the socket set up itself. Take the little cardboard inserts out, and then you see where it's got open, you pull on that, and then your socket all come out like that. So as I said earlier, this is a 61-piece socket set. So we'll just talk to the specs before we start from the top and work our way down. So the socket set itself is made from chrome vanadium steel and S2 steel. It's a 61 piece set, and it's 1/4 inch and 3/8. There's no 1/2 inch in this set. Okay, so what we do is we'll work our way from the top and we'll work our way down. So let's start from the top. Got this like little clip here to keep the ratchet in, the driver in, and the extension bars. So I believe these extension bars are 75mm. Yes, they are. They're 75mm extension bars. And you've got your 3/8 extension bar here, and it's also a wobble head extension bar. If you don't know what that is, let's just grab a socket. When you put the socket on the extension bar, if you pull it on all the way, the socket will be on there nice and secure. It's got a little bit of wobble on it, but it's not too bad. It'll be on nice and secure. But if you need like a little bit of extra leeway, a little bit of extra room, because you just got a nut that's just slightly out the way, if you pull the socket off a slight bit, not all the way off, you get this little function here, which is called the wobble bar. And basically it allows you to pretty much just move the socket around a little bit to give you just that little bit of extra play and leeway to get onto that nut and undo it or tighten it up, etc. So that's pretty good, especially for how much this set costs. And then you've got your 1/4 inch wobble bar as well. That works exactly the same way as the other one, but this is just in 1/4 inch and not 3/8. You've then got your screwdriver, driver, and the actual bit holder is already on the screwdriver, but that is removable, as you can see there. Another good little thing about this screwdriver is that it's got the attachment at the end, so you can attach a 1/4 inch ratchet to it. So if I grab a 1/4 inch ratchet, this is not from this, obviously this set, this is from a Halford Advanced set. I just want to show you what I mean by this. So here's your 1/4 inch ratchet, and you can use this basically as an extension bar. If you need it, put your ratchet on there. Okay, then what else you can do is grab the extension bar here, put that on, and then you can grab your socket, your 1/4 inch socket. If I can get the thing out, let's go for this one here, it's probably a bit easier to get out. Oh, it's always happens in video, doesn't it? Attach your socket, and there you go. You just got a little bit of an extension, so you can actually get in there and get to your nut or whatever you're undoing or tightening up. So that's pretty good. Not all screwdrivers that you get in socket sets and that come with that. It's got a nice rubber handle to it. Feels good quality. It's actually, if you compare that to my Halford Advanced bit driver, they both got the 1/2 inch, not 1/2 inch, sorry, 1/4 inch attachments up there. But the actual, this parkside one actually feels better than this one. This is just plastic. This has got like a nice little rubber coating on it, and that this to be fair actually does feel better quality than this one. I might end up swapping those two around, I think. Oh. And then you've got your 3/8 ratchet here. I have used this ratchet already just to try it out. It's actually quite a nice ratchet. It's a 72 teeth ratchet. Sounds okay. The only thing I did find with it was when I first got it a couple of hours ago, the first thing I'd done was took it apart, because it's very easy to service just with these little torque screws here. Just take these torque screws out and this just pops off, and it's pretty simple to service. It had no grease on it whatsoever, so it did feel a little bit notchy to begin with until I greased it up. Now it feels pretty good, but that's just something for you to bear in mind. If you do get this set, take it apart and put a bit of grease on there just to make the ratchet operate a lot nicer, to be honest with you, which is a bit disappointing really, that they didn't actually put any grease or anything on the internals of the ratchet. I just use some of this stuff that I've got. Multi-purpose EPT grease seems to do the trick. The rotation selector switch is metal, which is nice. The way you release a socket, which is quite nice as well, the same way with my Halford Advanced ratchets, is when you put the socket on, you can see it's got the little ball and dent there, which holds the socket on. Push it in, and that'll hold the socket on. So they're nice and secured, that ain't coming off. So that just stops it if you're doing something in your car or on a bike or something, that the socket don't come off the ratchet. You've got the little button at the back that you push, so you can then release the socket. You can see here on the neck, it goes up as an angle to give you a slight bit of clearance when you're using the ratchet, so you don't knock your knuckles and stuff and that on whatever you're working on. And it's got a nice rubber handle, which feels quite nice in the hand. The only problem with that is, if I grab my Halford's 3/8 ratchet, as you can see here, the handle's quite thin, isn't it? Now, you shouldn't really do this with ratchets. I'm not telling you to do this because you can technically break your ratchet and avoid your warranty. But anybody that works on cars will know that sometimes you need the extra leverage, and if you can't get a breaker bar in there or whatnot, that you stick a pipe on the end of your ratchet and you can break the nut loose like that. I really don't recommend doing that, or I try not to do that as much as possible, because it can damage your ratchets. But sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you've got no other way of getting that nut off. You can't do that with this, as you can see, unless you find a really quite a wide bar. That's not going to work. So that's a bit of a problem. The other thing with this ratchet that would have been nicer is if it was a bit longer, because the longer that your ratchet is, so if you look at the Halford Advanced one here, which this is a 100 tooth ratchet by the way, you can clearly see that the Halford Advanced ratchet is fairly bit longer, which then that gives you that little bit of extra purchase on it, so you can put a bit more torque on the nut to undo it. My older 3/8 ratchet, this is the 3/8 ratchet I have out of my 90 piece set, is the same size. Pretty much, it is the same size. So it does feel nice and smooth. It feels like a nice ratchet, not gonna lie, especially for what you pay for this. $17.99 with the coupon £15, that's not bad. Compare that with my Halford's Advanced ratchet, bearing in mind these ratchets, if you go out and buy the 3/8 Halford Advanced ratchet, it's going to cost more than this whole socket set. This ratchet is considerably quieter, but then it's obviously considerably more expensive with a lifetime guarantee. And I have just lubed up this ratchet actually as well. I took it apart, just like I took that one apart about an hour or so ago, and put some lube on it. So that was a 72 teeth ratchet, and then this is my 3/8 100 tooth ratchet from Halford Advanced. This is a lot newer. It's not been used as much as the Halford Advance ratchet. But all in all, that's a pretty decent ratchet for what you're paying for. I remember how this goes back in now, like that. You mong. So then you've got your bit set down here. You've got quite a few sets, bits here from your Phillips heads. You've got your PH1s, your PH2s, your PH0s, your PZ1s, etc. You've got your flat heads, and then you've also got a couple of torque screw driver bits here as well, which is quite handy. So you've got a T10, T15, T20 and a T25. So the way you use these, if you don't know, is you get your little driver, whatever you bit you need. Say you need a T20, you put that in the end, and there you go, you now got your screwdriver. They're bits, they're nothing to write home about, they're just bits. But it's nice that they come in there. But if you're like me, you've probably got 100 of those things floating around all over the place. Just one thing as well, unfortunately, these torque bits don't fit the screws for that ratchet. I had to use this little precision set that I got to undo it with, which is a bit of annoying. It would have been nice if they actually fitted the screws for the ratchet so you could service the ratchet. So we now move down to the sockets. So we've got our 1/4 inch sockets here, and they start from 4mm, 4.5mm, all the way up to 13mm. They're quite nice sockets. They're a matte finish, and they've got a nice little bit of knurling on them. So my camera can focus. Probably won't do now, will it? The sockets, can't really see that, can you? The sockets, the sides of the sockets are laser etched onto the socket. They're not engraved. Like, so if I grab a, let's say the 13mm from a Halford Advance, you can see that they're actually engraved onto the socket, so they're never going to wear off. Where unfortunately with this, because it's been laser engraved on, that probably will wear down eventually and come off. But they do seem like quite nice sockets actually. They don't seem too bad. Like I said, they're like a matte fit, pretty much a matte finish. You've got a, where you can see on the Halford Advance one, it's a nice shiny chrome. But if you compare the sockets, parkside sockets are quite nice as well. They're not bad. Compare the backs. They're quite nice sockets really. I think they're going to stand the test of time. And unlike the Halford Advance ones, these ones have got a bit of knurling on them. Let me grab a really cheap set of sockets I've got. If I can find where I put them now. Here we go, there they are. So when I was in Spain, I was just looking in some hardware store, and I just came across this little thing, and I just thought that this little ratchet driver thing would be quite handy. I like the fact that it had like a T-handle shape on the end of it and stuff. So I ended up buying this, and it came with these sockets. Obviously these sockets are like really cheap. They're not good sockets. They don't like to come out either by the looks of it. There we go, we've got it out. So this is a 13mm. This is a really cheap socket. Bearing in mind that little set that I got there, that little driver and this socket set and some bits that I got with it was about €8. So it wasn't actually much cheaper than this, to be honest with you. Probably about half the price of this, but look at the difference. You see, from the parkside sockets to say a really, really cheap socket, the parkside socket is considerably better. There's a lot more material to this socket than there is to this one, and they're both 13mm sockets. You can quite clearly see the difference in quality to the sockets. This socket's probably going to last you a good while. This one, I wouldn't use this on a car or even a push bike. because I think this would probably split. It's not a good socket at all. You can see that very thin walls, not much material to it, very light compared to the parkside one. It's quite a nice socket. So, like I said, from 4mm up to 30mm, you've got those sockets in 1/4 inch, and then you've got some, which is actually, this is really nice actually, that this comes with this socket set, is that you've got some E-sockets. Now an E-socket, sorry, this can be a bit awkward actually to seem to be getting the sockets out of the thing. So that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Let's have a look at one of the bigger E-sockets that you get. So an E-socket is basically that, which is basically like a star nut. And that's quite nice actually that you get these with that set, because I've never got those with any of my Halford Advanced sets apart from my, I think my 46 piece impact socket set from Halford Advanced has these sockets, but oh no, sorry, they don't have them. It was the bit set that I got. My sister got me for Christmas. The 36 piece bit set that I got had these sockets in there, but they didn't. I've never actually seen these in the actual socket sets themselves. So it's quite nice that they include these instead of having to go out and buy a separate set. And you get an E4, an E5, an E6, an E7, an E8, and E10 in 1/4 inch for the E-sockets, which is nice. Moving down, we've got our 3/8 sockets, and you've got them in 11mm all the way up to 18mm. Sorry, I stand corrected. You've got them from 10mm all the way up to 18mm. So you've got 10mm, 9mm, 8mm, 11mm, 12mm, 30mm, all the way up to 18mm on the sockets. And as you saw, we just had a look at the 1/4 inch sockets. These are exactly the same, but in 3/8. It's got the laser etching on them and stuff and that. Nice thick walls. They're all 6-point sockets, which are nice. They're not those 12-point sockets. You then also got I wish I had my pliers on me now. You've also got your 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter. So the way that works, if you don't know, is you get your 3/8 ratchet, you put your adapter on, and that will then allow you to say, let's say you need to use a 5mm socket, and then you can use the 5mm socket on the 3/8 ratchet. So basically, if you're going to use those sockets, you need to use that adapter. Unless you buy a ratchet that's 1/4 inch. Then let's move down. We've already discussed, we've got the E-sockets here, which we have an E16, an E18, and an E20 in 1/4 inch. And they also provide us with 4 deep sockets. So you've got your deep socket. There we are. It's just basically a longer socket. It allows you just to get certain bolts off and stuff and that, and there's a bit of bar or something sticking out of the socket of that. It just allows you the access to get onto the socket. You then got that from 10 up to 15mm. So you've got a 10mm, a 12mm, a 14mm, and a 15mm, and they're all laser etched onto the actual socket, the same with the rest of them. And that's pretty much it with what you get with this set. It's a pretty nice set for £17.99 or with the coupon for £15. So not bad at all. As you can see there, I was struggling to get some of the sockets out from the back here. So that is a little bit of a pain at night if you're trying to get the sockets out and stuff and you're trapped at the side of the road. That might become a bit of a drama. I was just getting a pair of pliers and pulling them out with them, to be honest with you. But yeah, the actual set itself seems pretty decent for the price. So I'll just show you a little video now of me actually using the ratchet on a bicycle, and then we'll come back and just discuss a little bit more about it. What I'm going to do now is show you the ratchet in use, and how I'm going to do this is by taking the nut off this bike, this nut here, by loosening it, then tightening it with a 15mm socket and the extender bar, and then once we've done that, we'll move over to this bike. Same process, we'll loosen the nut off and tighten it up, but we'll do it without the extender bar, just the socket and the ratchet. The size of this socket is a 15mm socket. Nice and easy, doesn't feel like the socket's slipping or anything on the nut. So what we're going to do now is just tighten it. It would be nice if this ratchet did actually have a little bit of a longer handle, but for £15 on with the coupon, you can't complain really, can you? So what we're going to do now is we're just going to undo this nut and then tighten it up. We're going to do it without the extender bar. Sorry guys, I'm holding my phone and trying to take the socket off and stuff like that. Just bear with me please. Right, so now we've just got the ratchet and the socket. Surprisingly easy. You will find though guys that when you release nuts, it doesn't matter if it's on a bike or if it's on a car or whatnot, it's easier to do it without the extension bars and stuff and that if you can, because you lose a bit of torque and stuff in it when you're using the extensions. Right, tighten it up and there we go, nice and easy. To be fair, this is not a bad ratchet for the price that it costs. Yeah, cool. So what do I think of the Parkside 61-piece socket set? For the price, £17.99, if you download the little app of Play Store, it costs you £15 with the voucher. Then I think that this socket set is absolutely fantastic for the price that this socket set costs. If you compare this socket set with other socket sets of the same price, this blows them out of the water by a mile. It's really, really good for the price that this socket set costs. I actually don't understand how they sell this socket set for so cheap, to be honest with you, but they do, and it seems on first impressions to be a pretty damn good quality socket set. Now I don't know, the ratchet might end up screwing up in a couple of months, I don't know, but from my first impressions of this socket set and just using it for a little bit, it seems like a very nice socket set, especially for the price that it costs. So what don't I like about this socket set? There's not much I actually don't like about it. My major gripe with this socket set is actually probably the case. Now it's nice that they give you a case, but as you can see in the video earlier, I was struggling to get some of the sockets out. Now that's sitting in the living room in daylight, in the warmth, you know. So imagine what that would be like if you're outside in the middle of nowhere trying to sort your car out to get it back on the road so you can get home, and it's pissing it down with rain. Yeah, I can imagine that it could be a little bit frustrating, to be honest with you. But that is my only major gripe with this socket set, is this case, but it's still nice that it comes with it. What I do like about it, you get a good set of sockets, a good variety set of sockets, like you get the E-sockets and stuff in there. I just want to say something now. I did say earlier in the video that these E20 socket sets here were quarter inch. They're not. They are 3/8, and the quarter inch ones are up here. Okay, but you get quite a decent set of sockets with this kit. You get quite a few bits, which is nice. You get a couple of extension bars. You get the driver, which that's actually quite nice. That's better than my Halford Advanced driver, and that Halford Advanced kit cost me near enough 200 quid. This cost me 17.99. The ratchet is fairly decent. It seems okay. No, it's not as nice as my Halford ones, but then the Halford ratchets cost more than this whole set. So there you go, whatever. But it is a fairly decent ratchet. It does feel quite smooth. It feels like quite a half decent ratchet. The only thing I would like if it was a little bit longer, but for the price, you can't really complain. So what would I use this for? I did state this earlier, what the purpose why I wanted this socket set was so I could stick it in the back of my wife's car. So in case I'm with her and we break down, like I was saying, if you're in the middle of the night, you need to get home, you've got like waiting for the AA for 4 hours and stuff like that, and it's handy to have. Maybe you can get your car back on the road and get yourself home, or she calls me like she did before, so I need to come out there and have a look at the car for her. Then I've actually got some sockets and ratchets and that with me, so I haven't got to mess around getting all my sockets and ratchets and everything and that out, my toolboxes and stuff in there. So that is the purpose that I would use this socket set for. Now, if you're thinking about getting this for your first socket set and you haven't got any other tools or any other sockets or any other ratchets or anything like that, and you're thinking about starting to work on your car, I wouldn't recommend this set per se. And the reason for that is because, yes, it is a nice socket set, but you're going to have to buy more stuff. I'm telling you now, you're going to have to buy more stuff. First of all, you're going to have to get another 2 ratchets. So you're going to have to get a 1/4 inch ratchet and a 1/2 inch ratchet. You might be able to get away with the 1/2 inch ratchet, but they are nice to have when you get to the bigger bowls. But the 1/4 inch ratchet, yeah, you kind of really do need one of those. The other thing you're definitely going to need is more extension bars, because these extension bars, it's nice that they give you them, but they're only small. They're going to be a bit of a pain, and you're not going to be able to reach everything. I'm telling you now, you're not going to be able to reach everything with these extension bars. Anybody that works on cars will know already that these extension bars are a bit short. It'd have been better if they just put one big long one in instead of putting 2 short ones in. To be honest with you, it'd have been better to put one long one in. It would have been more practical in the long run. So if that was the case, if I was in that situation when I was getting my first socket set, I would either look at getting, say, like a Halford Advanced socket set. But if you don't want to pay that sort of money, because I understand that £200 for a 150-piece socket set or £130 for a 100-piece socket set is quite a bit of money, I would look at probably getting the Parkside 200. I think it's a 200-piece set. I'm not 100% sure. I've not really looked into it because I've obviously got the Halfords ones and I don't need them. But I think it's a 200-piece one. It's about £80, and that will give you quite a decent socket set. So a couple of weeks ago, my dad was having a problem with his car, and he got a mobile mechanic to come out and sort his car out for him and that. And I was just talking to the mechanic and stuff, and he had that large Parkside socket set that I just mentioned, that 200-piece one, and it actually did look like quite a decent socket set. So yeah, I would probably recommend that if you're looking at getting your first socket set. If you got the little bit of extra money to pay, get Halford Advanced one, because you get the lifetime warranty with them, or buy a second-hand Halford Advanced one, because you don't need the receipt to return the tool. So if you break the ratchet or you break a socket, you just go into the store with the Halford Advanced, say you break the ratchet, and they just exchange it for you without the receipt. One thing I do want to tell you about, though, and to be careful about, I've seen these go for about £50 on eBay. Please don't pay £50 for this. It's well worth £17.99. It's still worth £17.99. I would happily pay £25 for this. It's a nice set. It's not worth £50 though. And a lot of eBay sellers, what they do is they wait until they've sold out Lidl, and then they put them up there for 50 quid, because people can't get them then, can they? Because they're not in stock anymore until another year. These are not worth £50. Don't pay £50 for it. And those people that sell these for £50, are clearly ripping people off. It's wrong. They shouldn't be doing it. So please don't line their pockets, because that's why they keep doing it. Because people will buy them. Don't buy them. You could buy 2 sets and have changeover for the price that they're selling for this. So don't do that. Go get something different. Get the extra 20 quid out of your pocket and go and get a £70 set, like 100 odd piece set, like the parkside one that I just mentioned earlier. All right. But yeah, so apart from that, it's a pretty decent set to have in the boot of your car for an emergency, or for working on, say, your push bike, or just having a socket set for around the house. This would be great for around the house. Really, really good. I can think of already one thing you can use this for. You know, when you put your TV up on the wall, you put your TV bracket on the wall, draw your holes, and you've got to put the bolts in the wall. This would be fantastic for that. So yeah, it's well worth the money. It's a steal for what it costs. So I hope this video has helped. I hope if someone was thinking about buying this video is either to make their mind up for them, either they want it or they don't want it. So please like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.